A blunder heard around the internet during Sunday's Miss Universe pageant. Steve Harvey, as host, accidentally named the wrong Miss Universe. In the end, the right contestant ended up with the crown, but many felt the host earned himself a dunce cap. Maria Villarreal has the story.
Colombia!
It's the moment every pageant contestant dreams of.
I have to apologize. The first runner-up is Colombia. Miss Universe 2015 is Philippines.
But for Miss Colombia, a moment that should have been filled with joy and celebration turned into confusion and awkwardness when host Steve Harvey realized he crowned the wrong winner.
It was my mistake.
But Steve Harvey said the reason for his confusion was how the names were listed on the card. After the show, he apologized again.
I made a mistake. I didn't read first runner-up on the card. When I said the winner of Miss Universe 2015, instead of saying first runner-up, I read the name on the card.
To add insult to injury, when he posted an apology on social media, he misspelled Philippines and Colombia. Critics went online to skewer Harvey. Pageant coordinators put out a statement saying, unfortunately, a live telecast means that human error can come into play. Miss Colombia took her loss graciously.
Everything happens for a reason, so I'm happy.
For Miss Philippines, who was the real Miss Universe, her crowning moment will be best remembered as one of Steve Harvey's biggest blunders.
It's a very non-traditional crowning moment, isn't it? Yeah, it's very 2015.
The ratings for this year's pageant had more than 1 million fewer viewers than the last one. And yet a chief officer for the pageant told CBS News they would absolutely have Harvey back for next year's pageant, saying the world would forgive and forget. Contessa?
Our booking producer extraordinaire at CBSN, Kaitlyn Fish, had a very similar experience when she was in college. She joins me now from her home state of Louisiana. Kaitlyn, what happened?
So on a much smaller scale, something very similar to last night happened to me when I was in college, like you said. I was crowned Miss LSU 2011 at my pageant at my university at LSU, and I was called about an hour after the pageant, and the title was taken away because of a mix-up with how the scoring process was done. To put it very briefly, I was on stage, crowned. It was a wonderful moment. It's something I'd wanted for about 3 years. And then an hour after the pageant, they called me back and said, oh, no, we made a mistake. It's not yours. And then you have to go and call, I would presume, your mom, your family, your friends, and tell everybody. They were all with me. They were all with me at that point, and we were at dinner, and that's when we got the call. And we had already taken tons of pictures and put them, you know, up on Facebook and social media, and everyone I knew about it. And the school paper had actually even published their story for the next day at that point and had to retract the whole thing. It was really embarrassing, to say the least. Well, where did you go from there? So I cried a lot. I was really upset because it's something I had worked really hard for and just had to kind of move on from it because I wasn't really given a great explanation as to what happened, except for the fact that I wasn't the winner and another girl was. Okay, so Kaitlyn, hold on. Let me bring in Gary Politana, who's a former pageant coach, was an executive at some points with the Miss America pageants locally, and then for the national Miss Universe, Miss USA and Miss Universe. Gary, what's your reaction to this? Have you ever seen something like what we saw with Steve Harvey?
Not on live television at that grand capacity, no.
And what was your reaction when you saw it?
I thought at first that he was very gallant to come forward and to admit that he made a mistake. I think it had to be done because it was in print. I think after hearing a lot of things on social media today, the card was difficult to read. And, by the way, the New York Daily News reports there was a behind-the-scenes Snapchat with Steve Harvey where he said he was actually fed that wrong name in the teleprompter, but the Snapchat has been deleted, so there's no way to confirm that. Well, the only thing about that is, my feeling about that is this. The teleprompter is fed technologically, so it's a second resource. You're handed a card by the official tabulators, by the head of PricewaterhouseCoopers, whoever the official tabulators are. To me, that's your primary resource. I would have gone with the card.
Okay, so he held the card up. He said it was my bad. He took the blame for it. What about the contestants themselves? I mean, how poised do you have to be, number one, to hear, okay, you thought you were the runner. There's the card right there, by the way, and you can see how small the print is. See the finger above it?
Right.
You can barely see.
The card should have been given to him maybe at dress rehearsal, so he could have seen the flow of the card.
And you could see how it says second runner-up USA, first runner-up Colombia, and then over on the other side, Miss Universe Philippines.
Clearly,
but you know, in that moment,
it's live television. In that moment, you're absolutely right.
the contestants themselves seemed very poised, at least for how phenomenally awkward this was. Can you effectively coach a contestant for this kind of scenario?
I think what it does is, you know, people knock the relevance of pageants today. I think when you looked at the poise and the decorum of those two women, naturally all the empathy went out to Miss Colombia, and it certainly should. But what about Miss Philippines? I mean, her moment was taken away from her as well.
Yeah, by the way, did you see this? And there's this moment where the previous year's Miss Universe comes over, she puts her hand on both backs of these two contestants. In fact, we have the video of that. She takes the crown off of one, and then she's going to move it to the other one. And here's poor Miss Philippines, who's normally going to get a big walk and wave, and instead the pageant ends. Did you see that? We go to the end of it. What happens, Gary, if you are deprived of your walk and wave? Does it completely undermine the rest of your pageant year?
No, I don't think so.
Come on.
No, I really, really don't. I think the poise that she showed, and I think the class that it's a very awkward thing to have to wait for your crown off of the wrong person's head, let alone the outgoing person's head.
I don't know. I mean, I felt like if Miss Colombia got robbed, and by the way, Kaitlyn, I think that Miss Colombia, if that had been me, I was in a pageant once. I was in the Miss Maine Teen USA pageant. I did not get runner-up, or I got top 10. You know, I was new to pageants. I didn't know what I was doing. Do you think it would have worked if Miss Colombia had said, "Oh hell no, try to catch me"?
No, I don't. I think what she did is the right thing to do, and I think what she did also is going to make her probably as big a name as the reigning Miss Universe.
She's going to probably be informed. One more thing, there's been a lot of chatter online because of the whole issue of whether the teleprompter fed in the wrong name, about whether this could have been a planned publicity stunt to get more attention for a pageant that, quite frankly, is struggling, like most pageants are, with attention. I mean, here's Piers Edmond. I don't know who he is. Steve Harvey's mistake was all a conspiracy created for two purposes: make Miss Universe relevant again. Could it be?
I doubt it. I doubt it. Something like this, I doubt.
You are so practical.
Well, think about the embarrassing moment. Think about the embarrassment to Steve Harvey. Think about the embarrassment to Miss Colombia. Think about the awkwardness for Miss Philippines. Think about all the people in the audience. I don't know if they would have stooped that low to get attention. I don't know.
Les says he's not a conspiracy theorist, but look at all the attention that Miss Universe has gotten.
Well, it did. There's no question. There's no question that it did get attention. But I don't know if that was the reason. I really do think it was live TV.
Yeah. All right. Gary Politana, great to see you.
You as well.
Kaitlyn, thank you for sharing your story with us.
Thank you for having me.